Welcome to Backstage with Richard Ridge. As Disney's smash musical hit Aladdin, which continues to dazzle and delight audiences, gets ready to celebrate its first anniversary on Broadway here at the New Amsterdam Theater, I sit with the show's 4 stars, Adam Jacobs, Courtney Reed, Jonathan Freeman, and James Monroe Iglehart, to talk about their magical ride with Aladdin.
Well, welcome. I am so thrilled to be sitting with the original 4.
Fantastic Four.
The Fantastic Four. You haven't done this in a long time, have you? Sit together.
No, we really haven't.
Okay, so as the show gets ready to celebrate its first anniversary, what has starring on Broadway in Aladdin meant to each of you?
Wow, it's been a dream for me. I never thought we would be selling out as well as we are, and with the same crew, have taking it from the original concept, the original workshops back in 2010, and then taking the whole journey, going from Seattle to Toronto, and then finally coming here, culminating in this amazing show that we have, and doing it together, because we had such a long journey, it just makes being here that much more fulfilling.
Yeah. Courtney, for you?
You know, I was just thinking back to all of the initial interviews from like press day and stuff like that. And I remember people asking, is it hard to believe that you're going to be playing this iconic role on Broadway? And I said, I'll probably believe it opening night when I'm on stage in the costume, performing Whole New World, whatever it is. And it's still, a year later, it's still kind of unbelievable to think, if we had 3 wishes, we'd want it to be successful, we'd want it to sell out every night, we'd want to still be together and enjoying it every single night, and we got everything we wanted.
Yeah, it's all those things.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Jonathan, for you?
I guess for me it's completing some kind of a very long journey. Speaking of long journey, some kind of a long journey. There's some kind of, I feel that there's some kind of completion for me that whenever this phase of it is over for me, whenever that is, I think I'll be okay to walk away, happily and know that, because this has been such a great experience, and reimagining it, seeing the story reimagined from film to the stage has been exciting, and I've enjoyed it. So I'm happy. I'm very happy that it's where we are right now.
Yeah.
What about you?
What was it like for you the first time you were able to put the costume on and the makeup? Because you have the longest history with this. I mean, starting with the film. So when you looked at yourself in the mirror the first time with this costume and everything, what do you remember thinking?
Wait, which first time?
Okay, the first time you were dressed for this production.
For this production?
Yeah.
Well, I had to make peace with myself.
Yeah.
I had to decide that there was no way, without the use of big prosthetics, that it was actually going to look like Andreas Deja's drawing.
Yeah.
So I had to kind of come to grips with that. And I still do. Like, some nights I look in the mirror after I'm made up and I put my turban on, I'm like, okay, that's okay, I'm him. And sometimes I'm like, that's not him. And I think I just have to work a little harder, So I've had to make some compromises, mostly in my head, to make it work.
There's only one Jafar, and he's you. So
That's
just
right.
so you know, he's you.
True.
That's right.
James, for you, looking back at this year, what it's meant.
It's been absolutely amazing. Seriously, this was my favorite movie. As a kid. I mean, my favorite Disney film as a kid. One of my favorite movies as a kid. And to be 17 and to dream about doing something like this, seeing different Disney versions in different places of this, and then getting to be a part of the Broadway cast. And then I think now about that first day we were in Seattle and we were all sat down at the table and we were doing a table read, and I looked at Adam and I said, look, if I just make anything up, just go with me. And he looks at me and he goes, he gives me a fist bump, which is something we put in the show. He was like, I got you, we'll go. And he has had my back and I've had his back. We've had it for a year. It's like the coolest thing ever. And to be able to look up and see this family together, we're still together, we're still happy, we still like each other. You know, it's been a year and nobody's like, well,
We really do.
I don't want to sit next to you. You know, it's still, everybody's just having a great time. And the fans, we've had many repeat fans. We've been over for a year, and people have come back 6 times to see the show. And they love it each time. They say they want to come back. One person told me the other day, they said, I came back tonight specifically to watch the Jafar change.
Yeah.
Because they had seen it before, but they kept missing it. They came back so they could see just how Jafar changes from, you know, Sultan to Genie. I was like, that's amazing. It's just been really a really cool ride.
Yeah. You have this incredible fan base at Aladdin. What's it like meeting the fans?
It's awesome. They're so enthusiastic and so excited after the show.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of them haven't seen the movie even. So a lot of these kids, it's their first Broadway show, and you know that just makes me very excited knowing, just thinking about when I went to see my first Broadway show, and the parents are behind them smiling and beaming, and would you like to take a picture? And thank you so much for the pictures and the autographs, and they're very gracious, and it really is one of my favorite parts of being in the show is greeting all the young fans and the older fans too, and everybody who's witnessing the show for the first time.
You know, Courtney, going back to what you said about we were all together a year ago at the hotel talking to
Yeah.
you all, and we were like, we're going to start this journey together. You were all playing these roles for the very first time on stage. What it means to you all taking on these beloved and iconic characters and how you connect to them. How cool is that?
It is so cool. It comes also with the responsibility, you know, not just on stage but off stage, and you know, kind of tying it with the fans. It's like, you know, we get a lot of fan mail and tweets and Instagrams, and you know, they look up to you and they think of you as a role model.
Yes.
And so it puts you put yourself in check a little bit too, like as a person, to be a good person. And there's going back to the fan thing, there was a girl who drew this, like, she wanted to be an animator. She drew the most gorgeous photo of me as Jasmine, not just Jasmine, and
Sure.
you get that a lot. And when she met me, she started crying. She was like bawling. I kept thinking, like, wow, like, why is she crying meeting me? This is so weird. But you think, oh, well, you know, there are people who touched you as well in your life, and now you're kind of carrying, you're like passing the torch almost. And you're like, now I'm holding a responsibility, playing this iconic role on stage and off. So it's a very humbling experience.
Jonathan, for you, because you have a big history. I mean, people who fell in love with your voice in the film first, and you have quite a history. But meeting the fans, like, you're the villain. What that's like.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have, you know, however many years it is, 20 years of fantastic kid art drawings that they send, you know, and which is great. It's turned into a great collection. I'm very protective of it, I guess. That's the thing to say. And you know, the thing is, the longer that I've worked on the project, it's turned into other things. You know, about my involvement with the Susskind family and Owen Susskind, and a documentary is being made now about him. It's been more than just like a job.
Yeah.
It's turned into many other things that have given me, and when I say given me, I mean really given me, fed me this new kind of energy to sort of keep going so that I'm not bored with it.
Yeah.
Because I think after so many years, I was a little bit worried that I might just get bored, to be honest. Just bored listening to myself, you know, more than anything. Not with this crowd.
Yeah.
That's not what I mean. But so that's really been, you know, it's changed me, and I'm happy about that at this age.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to, you know, new challenges and new changes. And don't you ever say 17 again on camera.
What?
But you said I was 17 when the movie came
It was
out.
1992. I was 17 years old.
You said it again.
You said it again.
And you're such a nice person. I love you, John. Because John says, you know, I may get bored with hearing myself. I never get bored with hearing myself.
No.
I love hearing myself.
Well, after 23 years, in 23 years when you're still playing
I'm
the
probably
genie.
talking to myself.
But the fans with a genie, I mean, that must be great for you.
It is. I I think what's funny is this happens to me quite often. Almost all of the people in our show are in the best shape ever. I mean, you can go to other. I'm not saying anything about the Broadway shows. All dancers and everybody are in great shape, but the men and women in our show are in fantastic shape. So when you have rounder people on stage, rounder people just rush to me. And they're just like, how do you do it? And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, because I know what they want to say.
It's like, if you can do it, I can do it.
It makes them feel good. They're like, I see you up there dancing. It just makes me want to go do things. I'm like, well, I'm glad that my stature has allowed you to feel the need to go out and do physical things. I also love the fans who you could tell that they didn't know if they wanted to come.
Yeah.
Usually older males. They didn't know if they wanted to come to the show, and they'll come afterwards, and you can see that look of like,
Why?
There's this thing like where like the wives want to come to musicals, the kids want to come to musicals, and the dads are like, hey, the family wanted to come, and so I came, and then like, but I will say, I had so much fun. I mean, I told my other friends about it, and some of these guys have come back.
Oh, yes.
They had so much fun. This was their first musical, or they've been to a musical before and they didn't dig it, but they came to this one, and it was something about this one that just got them. And it's a lot of fun to see them get so excited, especially with like they get excited in a football way. They like they want to like shake you and hold your hand. Like, this was amazing. You don't understand. I don't like musicals, but this one I love.
Yeah, they always do that.
That's true.
I had a friend of a friend come last night who literally said, he's like, I'm really not a fan of musicals. He's like, this is the only musical I've ever enjoyed. He said ever in his entire life.
That's like
the
the
only
best
musical
review.
he's
Yeah,
ever
it's the best
enjoyed.
review ever.
I know, it's true. And
I
he's
think-
actually like, he appreciates theater. He's just like, I've never really liked musicals.
I think that was true of the original project too, because it was a little edgy. It was the first musical. The first animated feature that was a little bit edgy because of Robin Williams and Gilbert Gottfried, I think, primarily. And I think it kind of changed the fan base for that. So I sort of understand it.
Yeah, I know, I totally get it.
But Adam, for you, little boys, I mean, everybody looks up to you. You're Aladdin.
Little boys.
Yeah, that come to the theater for the first time. I mean, what is it like for you?
Oh, it's great. I always ask them, what's your favorite part? And I was like, sword fighting? And they're like, oh yeah, I love the sword fighting. Magic carpet, any sort of magic they dig. I'm definitely a role model for young little boys. And having two little boys now, it puts that whole thing in perspective. Every time I see a young kid backstage, I picture my son's a little bit older coming to the theater and experiencing it. So it's my mind is still sort of wrapping I'm still trying to figure out how that is all going. But and it's very surreal, And but the boys and the girls, the girls look up to her, and the guys. I'm not as popular as Jasmine. Even with the little boys,
There's a couple reasons for that.
Even with the little boys, they want to go see. They want to see
pretty
Jasmine.
lady.
Yeah, they want to see Jasmine. But I'm totally at peace with that.
Yeah. No one produces a show like Disney in size or scope. Nothing to rival it. The production values are exquisite. You have 337 costumes. You have flying carpets, pyrotechnics going off everywhere. What was it like learning the technical end of this show when you're trying to do what it was like? Don't go there. Don't do this. Don't do that.
That was fun. It was fun to a point because we had all gotten to the point where we were like, look, we're just going to hold hands and hope everything goes okay.
Yeah.
Because there were moments when we got on stage, we were like, wow, thank God these guys know what they're doing. But it was kind of fun to watch it all come together because when you're on stage, you don't see what's happening.
Yeah.
So during tech, all of us would run out to watch the other scenes to see what would happen. I remember the first time I watched two specific scenes. The first time I watched One Jump and the first time I watched A Whole New World. I just sat out there and just went, I've done Broadway before, but this is amazing. Mm-hmm. This is awesome. I mean, our designers, the tech guys, the tech ladies, the stuff that they do is ridiculous. And it's fun to watch even when you're in the show.
Yeah.
But it is also kind of fun to watch other people watch the show and look at you and go, do you get afraid when you go down into the lamp? And you're like, no. it's my job. But I love it. But you get
carpet
afraid when you're on the carpet.
Is the
Right?
carpet scary?
Is the carpet
Always,
scary?
It's like the number
always
one
say
question.
that, number one.
Well, we're going to get into that because out of the many highlights in the show, and there are so many, just watching the two of you, and I'm sure if you hear the audience, the two of you flying on that magic carpet. I mean, what is it like doing that 8 times a week, and what do you remember about the first time?
The first time was scary. I mean, we did it in tech and rehearsals,
Yeah.
and you don't know which direction it's going to
Yeah.
go. So we were sort of just bracing ourselves, and we were strapped in, obviously, and clipped in. But it was when it first took that first lurch forward. You kind of like it's a little scary, and then that first turn and banks a little bit, and but then you got used to it. It's very smooth, and we make sure we have a very strong relationship so that we don't push each other off.
I can imagine.
Why
Because
did I know he was going to say that? Why did I know he was going to say that? Oh my god. I love you so much, Adam Jacob.
What's it like for you being on that carpet? I love this. See what comes out here?
No, it was the same. I mean, I wasn't scared, but...
Wow.
No, just kidding.
I love that.
Under
No,
a
I
bus.
just, no, in all honesty though, when you get on something like that and you know that you're with somebody that you trust, and I'm not even trying to be cliche, like, you don't really feel that scared. You're like, oh, well, Adam's on this with me, we're gonna be fine. And it was definitely more exciting than I thought it would be. But people, and you get used to it, because you do 8 shows a week, and so people always ask you, like, what is it like to ride on a carpet every night? You're like, well, it's kind of normal now.
Yeah.
You know?
So now I get on it.
No, it's like I get on it, and I write, and I know, exactly when it's gonna move, at what part of what syllable you're singing, and so you know exactly what's happening, but nobody else knows.
Yeah. It's not great.
Nobody else
No, but
knows.
I've been going to the theater since like the early 70s. I don't think there's anything more magical than watching that happen. Because you think as you sit there, you say, oh, I think I know how, oh no, they're turning that way. I don't see anything.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful. It's breathtaking to watch.
And that's a
thank
question
you.
that we get
Yeah.
every single show. There is someone, and usually someone that we know and love, who will walk up to us and go, oh my God, the show is great, you were great, and they're trying to put you into a corner like nobody's around and go, okay, so how's that carpet?
They always pull you into a corner.
Because they think that there are cameras around, like, okay, so how's the carpet? And we all look at the same and go, we can't tell.
It's magic.
Disney
magic.
Disney magic. No one does the magic better than Disney.
Stock answer.
Yeah,
That's right.
I love that. Talk about working with your brilliant director, Casey Nicholaw. I mean,
Oh my
during this
gosh.
whole process of watching him turn this show into this monster hit.
You know what's funny about, what's awesome, I should say, about Casey is the energy that you see on stage is the perfect way to describe Casey Nicholaw.
Yes. True.
He is that energetic person, and he has that much passion for what he does. And he has this love for classic musical theater. And so when he does a project, he brings the passion, the love, the energy, but that knowledge of classic musical theater to
Yes.
whatever project he's coming at. And so for him to look at Aladdin, he literally wanted to bring back the old, big, glitzy styles of musicals. And that's what he instilled in us. And he knew he had to tell a story, but there was this focus that he wanted us to have, and it was kind of infectious. You couldn't help but want to do all the things you see us do, because he would imitate them for you. I mean, he wouldn't like act it out for you, but there was an energy that when he was telling you, I want you to go this and go this way, and maybe if you turned on 0 or turned on 1, you feel it, and then you want to do it too because of the way he talks to you. Mm-hmm. He gets so into a project.
Yes.
And it's kind of fun, but then on the other side, you realize how brilliant he is. Because I go so loud and do all these crazy things, and some things I think are funny, and he'll look at me and he'll go, it'd be funnier if you said it quietly. And I'm like, really? And, because I'm all big and everything, and then I tried it, and I was like, wow, he's right. This is absolutely right. He just has a wonderful eye for comic timing. And then also those great dramatic moments, he knows where we should stop being funny and go into something serious, and then he can turn it on a dime and go right back to the comedy. He's just that good.
Yeah.
He's just that good.
Jonathan, for you, working with Casey.
His instincts are pretty close to perfect, I think. I mean, he doesn't miss very much. And I really appreciate it when I'm working with people that I feel know more than I do at this point. I like to be challenged a little bit, and also it's nice to be able to go to somebody and say, "This doesn't seem right to me. What do you think?" You know, he's smart. He's so smart. That's the main thing. And I think at least you sort of want to please him. You want him to be happy too, because he's invested so much energy, and you know he's put a lot of time into it.
Sure.
So you don't want to fail. You don't want to fail him. And I think that's the main thing, you know, wanting to please him, and knowing that you're in such good hands after such a long time.
Yeah.
I hate to keep saying it, but you know, you don't meet that many people in the business that you feel can give you more and more and more. You know, it's exciting.
Courtney, for you.
Yeah, it is. As an actor or actress, it is a dream to work with somebody like Casey Nicola. You know, especially he comes from the same background. He was an actor first, and he is just completely brilliant. I mean, even there might be a moment where you think, I don't know if that's gonna, and then immediately the next day he's like, we're gonna change that because that's not right. You think, oh my gosh, I'm so lucky, and to be able to speak freely, like Jonathan was saying, speak freely about saying, I don't know if Jasmine would say something like that. What do you think? And him saying, let's talk about this. So you don't feel closed off, and he's not trying to micromanage you. He gives you freedom. I mean, it's like the list is endless, and hey, the proof is in the pudding, right?
Sure it is.
I also, I also feel that he'd tell you if it stank.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I was
And
gonna
I like
say.
that. I like it when someone says that really isn't good.
That's not
He's
good.
great.
No,
That's not funny.
I think that, like,
Adam, for you.
I was going to
tell
say
me.
that the number one thing about it is he creates such a great atmosphere
Yeah.
for creativity. He would inspire us to try things and feel free to take chances.
Yeah.
Which every director, which every actor would want to do, and he supports that freely, so wholeheartedly, I should say. And so, when we would try something that was, off the wall or probably not on the mark, he would be the first person to say,
Boo.
that's pretty much quote unquote.
It's like you're waiting for the boo. Do I get the boo or do I not get the boo?
Right.
He knows how
yeah.
to, sorry, go ahead. No, it was just, I was just going to say he knows how to pick a company too.
Sure. Oh,
Yeah.
you can see that.
Yeah.
Well, he started as a gypsy, so he knows how it all works.
I remember being in the middle of a scene in Seattle.
Yeah.
And we were like doing the scene, and as you're doing the scene, he's sitting in this chair going, and this has to go. Because cutting. So let's just get to the end of this, and then we'll keep moving, and we'll work on it tomorrow.
Yep.
But that's
So
what
good.
a brilliant
Okay.
director choreographer
Yeah.
does. He used to be old school from the Bob Fosse, from the Michael Bennett.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
people knew how to put a show together, and he knows how to put a show
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
The score to Aladdin is stunning. I mean, Jonathan, you have the longest association
Yeah.
with Alan Menken, working over the years, and of course the late Howard Ashman.
Yeah.
It's come full circle for you, hasn't it, with
Yeah.
this?
Yeah. The music is beautiful. I think it's one of their most beautiful scores,
Yeah.
and I'm glad that they were able to restore a lot. I mean, we had an interview once, and someone said, "What's your favorite song?" And I didn't say "Proud of Your Boy" for some reason, but that's my favorite song probably in the show now. And I remember them working on it, and the first time that I heard it, and it's always moved me for a lot of reasons. I just think it's a great score. I think that there just isn't anybody that equals Howard Ashman. It has to do with that kind of Sondheim-like brain power, rhyming, internal rhymes, making sense out of something that doesn't seem to make sense, making up words that make sense, That's brilliant to me. And then, of course, Alan's beautiful music. I mean, Alan's always has and continues to write beautiful music. Yeah, I've always admired. I admired them before I even went to work on this project, because I auditioned for things, in New York that they were working on long in the 70s. And they were always such gentlemen too. I mean, they're wonderful people. So it's always nice to see Alan around. It's nice when he comes into the building, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I want to ask you two, because I want you to tell me about that day that you worked with Alan Menken on A Whole New World, that work session, what that meant to the two of you, and what he means to you.
That was huge. We were in the room, we
Yeah.
were working on A Whole New World, and all of a sudden Alan Menken just says, you know what, I think I want to change it. I think I want to try something new with this song, and we're thinking,
Freshen it up.
Freshen
Yeah.
it up, I think was what he said, and we're like, this is a song that everybody and their mother has sung, like famous people down to people in the shower, like everybody. And you want to change it? And we're like, okay. So, he gets there, he starts, making some modulations, some key changes, and some suspensions, some beautiful stuff, along with Michael Kazarin, like they're working together. And the end result was, the two of us in the room creating something new. And reimagining a song, which is a Grammy-winning song, and making it fresh and something that really we could connect to, and something that you could sort of picture a flying carpet with. Yeah. And that's what he did, and it was amazing.
I think that new intro, You Must Feel Trapped Inside, I think that is brilliant.
Yeah.
The acapella version.
It makes it so much better.
Yeah,
for this,
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah, I was gonna say that when we were in the rehearsal studio, in in Seattle, we would kind of, the scene would just kind of go into A Whole New World.
Yeah.
And I think that was what made him realize, wait, there needs to be something that's gonna like take you into it.
Right.
And I had somebody actually tweet me the other day. They said, after listening to A Whole New World, and that intro has changed the game. It's like that, I can never listen to A Whole New World ever again without that intro, because, and then you kind of watch it in the movie, it's like, wow, just go right into it.
Yeah.
But when he first started playing that and we were singing along, I just started crying hysterically because I couldn't believe how beautiful it was and how incredibly romantic it is. And it's like in the clear, right? You don't even, he just sings it a cappella. It is probably one of the most beautiful parts of the show, in my opinion.
See, that's what I love about what you all do, because you get a chance to work with the masters, creating this show, and you all have these moments where you're like, oh my God, I'm working with Alan Menken, or I'm in the room with Casey, and this all happens, and then you open and you become this big hit, but you create it all together.
Yeah.
Well, the first time I saw A Whole New World in tech, and everything was working, and the carpet was going, and the set was breaking away, I got very emotional.
Yeah.
I cried.
Yeah.
An old criminal like me. I got very emotional because it was so incredibly beautiful. It moved me, and I thought, oh, this is going to happen every night for an audience. It's going to move them because the spectacular way in which everything is going away and fading and moving, and this music is building. I mean, it's that moment.
It's
a lot of stuff.
It's that moment as an actor where you sit out in the audience and you look at your friend, you look at your colleagues, and you go, the show's going to work.
Yeah.
The show's going to work. Once the set broke away and they start singing and they're flying, you literally go, we're going to be fine.